This week in Jamaica Now, the Jamar Farquharson case, public outrage as video shows 22-year-old opening the door for the police, raising questions about how he was later shot dead. Shock as respected horse race jockey murdered in Kingston. From bulla to broughtopsy, Jamaican words make their mark in the Oxford English Dictionary. And Jamaican sprint legend Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce hangs up her spikes. I'm Jovan Johnson, and this is Jamaica Now. Public outrage peaked this week over the controversial police killing of 22-year-old Jamar Farquharson at his home on Cherry Tree Lane in Four Paths, Clarendon. The incident occurred on September 15, but a video and disclosures from the Independent Commission of Investigations INDECOM this week triggered alarm and scrutiny over the circumstances of Mr. Farquharson's death. INDECOM investigates fatal shootings involving the security forces. A video circulating online shows Mr. Farquharson opening a door and then putting his hands above his head as police officers entered the house. Deputy Commissioner of INDECOM, Hamish Campbell, said the police reported that they shot Mr. Farquharson after he allegedly pulled a gun on them during a search in his bedroom. The police said they recovered a .38 revolver from the house. Mr. Farquharson's relatives have disputed the police account and pointed to the CCTV footage.
Yes, well, we were informed of a fatal shooting last Monday, the 15th September, at 5 p.m. in the evening. The JCF reported of a planned police operation which they said had begun at 3 p.m, but they'd gone to Cherry Tree Lane in Four Paths, Clarendon, with a search warrant for a firearm, allegedly. When they went to the premises, they report that the occupier of the premises, Mr. Farquharson, Jamar Farquharson, who was the person who was eventually shot, answered the door to the police, let the police in, and the police then report that they cleared the house or cleared the rooms to ensure that no one else was in the property. And then they took, according to the police, they took Mr. Farquharson back to his room. Mr. Farquharson wasn't detained or handcuffed or restrained in any way, and the two officers report that whilst they took him back to his room, Mr. Farquharson reached for and grabbed a firearm, which was amongst some items of clothing or towels, and two officers fired 2 rounds each. And Mr. Farquharson was fatally wounded. That's the police account. There are no other eyewitnesses in the property.
Mr. Campbell also disclosed that the search warrant used by the police did not bear Mr. Farquharson's name. The warrant was for a weapon. Instead, the warrant listed another person and gave only Cherry Tree Lane as the address. Mr. Campbell said investigators are probing whether the person named in the warrant is connected to the premises. And Mr. Campbell revealed that his team has secured the original closed-circuit television footage from the incident and is conducting an analysis. He declined to disclose what the recordings show, but acknowledged that versions circulating on social media were not time-stamped. Mr. Farquharson's mother, Lafayette Wright, said the explanations have provided little comfort. She said her son was a well-behaved child who was grown to respect authority. The mayor of Maypen, the JLP's Joel Williams, has vouched for Mr. Farquharson's reputation, telling Nationwide Radio this week that he knew him to be an upstanding young man. Mr. Farquharson was a past student of Denby High and Vere Technical High Schools in Clarendon. He was working with the National Water Commission and was pursuing entrepreneurial ventures including catering, beekeeping and welding. And the incident has sparked fresh calls for mandatory use of body-worn cameras on planned police operations. The INDECOM Deputy Commissioner said that evidence could have been useful in the Jamar Farquharson case. He disclosed that none of the 23 officers who went on the raid at Mr. Farquharson's home wore body cameras.
No planned police operation this year, in other words, when officers are attending premises with a search warrant, nobody has been wearing a body-worn camera. Right. Not once a year has anybody worn a body-worn camera, and we do keep repeating the same message, because here is perhaps an example that there is some CCTV evidence from inside the house. But obviously it needs further analysis, but body-worn cameras would support the police and reinforce what they report to us and state what happened, and then we'll be able to examine that and then counterclaim it, if at all, with other CCTV material that we have.
INDECOM is preparing a formal report for Parliament on the status of the body-worn camera programme by the end of September. The police force has repeatedly rejected suggestions that it is resisting the widespread deployment of body-worn cameras, pointing instead to the gradual build-out of infrastructure and training. In November last year, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang downplayed the technology's usefulness in hostile confrontations. He said body-worn cameras were of very little value and that their primary benefit was in maintaining public order, such as the management of street vending. Jamaica has seen a record decline in murders of more than 40% so far this year compared with a similar period last year. However, rights groups including Jamaicans for Justice and INDECOM have raised concerns about an increase in fatal shootings by the security forces. INDECOM is reporting 225 fatal shootings for January 1 to September 23, a 73% increase over the similar period last year. The Office of the Public Defender has publicly backed calls for the police to be required to use body-worn cameras in planned operations. And the Jamaica Constabulary Force broke its silence on the Jamar Farquharson case on Thursday, saying the situation is most regrettable. According to the Dr. Kevin Blake-led force, every police-involved encounter that results in a fatality is, quote, deeply unfortunate, end quote. However, the High Command cautioned that the facts of what took place on the day of Mr. Farquharson's killing are to be conclusively determined by an independent investigation. The statement also took issue with public comments by the INDECOM's Deputy Commissioner suggesting that it is a perfectly legitimate approach for the Commissioner of Police or the leadership of the police force to speak publicly about fatal shooting incidents that are under investigation. The JCF said that Mr. Campbell's position is disingenuous given what it said is a repeated public and private concern raised by INDECOM in the past whenever the JCF issued statements or offered commentary on such matters. The High Command did not say whether it would require the use of the devices in planned operations, but it noted that the police force had command over operational duties. The JCF restated its support for the use of body-worn cameras by cops and disclosed that the recent procurement process for 1,000 new cameras is complete. It said contracts are with the provider ahead of a delivery in the coming weeks. The St. Andrews South Police have named two brothers as persons of interest in the murder of veteran Jockey O'Neal Mullings, who was shot dead outside his Waterhouse home on September 21. The men are Samuel Brown, also known as Shooter or Mark, and his brother Sean Brown, both of 440 Drive in Kingston 11. Police say the brothers, linked to construction work at Mr. Mullings' home, should report to the nearest police station. Investigators believe the killings stemmed from a dispute over payment for steelwork and carpentry. The 49-year-old Mr. Mullings was widely respected in Jamaica's horse racing community. President of the Jamaica Jockeys Guild, Philip Parchment, says Mr. Mullings' untimely death has left him heartbroken. He said Mr. Mullings was not only a colleague, but a very close friend. The two graduated from the jockey training program in 2002. Mr. Parchment remembered his late friend as someone with a light-hearted personality who lifted moods with humor. Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, the operators of Caymanas Park, where horse racing takes place, hailed Mr. Mullings for his dedication and skill in the saddle. Mr. Mullings rode 415 winners at Caymanas Park. Up to September 21, about 500 Jamaicans were murdered for 2025, a decline of over 40% compared with the similar period last year. A Trelawney taxi operator captured on video attacking a woman with a machete has been charged. He is 42-year-old Cleon Buckle of Freeman's Hall district in Alberta Town. Police say Mr. Buckle struck the woman several times during a dispute at his home on September 14. The video quickly went viral and Mr. Buckle was later arrested and charged with unlawful wounding. He is to appear in court on that matter on October 6. Meanwhile, the police say Mr. Buckle also faces additional charges in a separate case where he's accused of repeatedly sexually assaulting a minor. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness on Wednesday said Jamaica has strengthened its plans as part of efforts to enhance climate change adaptation and mitigation. Mr. Holness was addressing a high-level World Leaders Climate Summit at the United Nations General Assembly in New York. He said Jamaica was making progress under Nationally Determined Contributions, or NDCs, which are national climate action plans by each country under the Paris Climate Agreement.
Jamaica's targets are anchored in existing policies and supported by political will. Key highlights of our NDC include a broader push for renewable electricity, energy efficiency in the water sector, and electric vehicle adoption, targeting 12% of private fleets and 16% of public fleets by 2030. Decarbonization in the cement industry by 40 kilotons of CO2, and zero net loss of forests, along with mangroves and seagrass restoration. Excellencies, by 2035, Jamaica aims for emission reductions between 26% and 41.7% compared to 2012 levels, depending on the scale of international support received.
The Jamaican government says Jamaican Orville Etoria is now back home after being deported by the United States to Eswatini in July. Mr. Etoria spent more than 7 weeks in a maximum security prison in the African nation without charge. Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith confirmed his return on Monday, urging Jamaicans to respect his wish for privacy. The 62-year-old Etoria was convicted of murder in the U.S. in 1997 and was released from prison on parole in 2021. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, when announcing the deportation in mid-July, claimed Mr. Etoria and several other men were so uniquely barbaric that their home countries refused to take them back. Jamaica, however, denied any such refusal. Police in Portland have launched a manhunt to locate at least 10 Haitians who fled after arriving on boat on September 21. Authorities say about 30 people, including men, women and toddlers, landed around midnight at Rocky Beach in Kensington. By morning, the group had scattered. With the help of residents, police located 20 Haitians, some found hiding in bushes, including children under 3 years old. Superintendent Ainsley McCarthy confirmed the detentions. Some have been returned home. One woman died and at least 13 people, including several school children, were injured following 2 separate road crashes in rural St. Andrew on Tuesday. Police say both accidents occurred within an hour along the Newcastle and Dublin Castle main roads. In the first incident, Greta McKenzie of Jerry Gully in Irishtown died after a Toyota Probox plunged into a ravine along Newcastle Main Road. Less than an hour later, a school bus overturned in Gordon Town, injuring at least 10 children and the driver. The Caribbean has officially stamped its mark on the Oxford English Dictionary with 12 new words added this year, several of them Jamaican. Among the Jamaican entries are Jamaican Creole, bulla and brotopsy. Bulla, described as a small round cake made with flour, molasses, brown sugar and spices like ginger and nutmeg, has long been a staple in Jamaican households. Brotopsy, meanwhile, is a nod to the polite manners that come from a proper upbringing. Also added is the phrase carrigo brinkum, which dates back to 1825. It refers to gossip or the person who spreads it, something Jamaicans know well. Other words include salt fish, one of Jamaica's most famous dishes, as well as entries like baboli and krylong water. Oxford officials say the Caribbean has enriched English with vibrant words and culture, and that Jamaicans can now see their language officially recognized on the global stage. International ratings agency Standard & Poor's has upgraded Jamaica's long-term credit rating from BB- to BB, while maintaining a positive outlook. The upgrade means Jamaica is seen as more likely to repay its debt, making borrowing cheaper and boosting investor confidence. The finance minister says the move reflects Jamaica's strong policy framework, supported by bipartisan consensus on debt reduction and fiscal discipline. Finance Minister Favour Williams welcomed the upgrade, saying it brings Jamaica closer to investment-grade status and signals confidence in the country's economic prospects. Shock and sadness have swept across social media following the death of 26-year-old Tyra Spaulding, a former Miss Universe Jamaica contestant. The police say Miss Spaulding was found by relatives at her home in St. Andrew on Tuesday evening in what they are treating as a suspected suicide. Miss Spaulding had documented her battles with depression in YouTube videos. A warning that this clip posted on September 4 may be distressing.
Hello guys. I am about to head to the gym because, boy, I'm fighting for my life over here. I feel like I need to go out and do something because my mind is trying to kill me. And if I do nothing, I am going to die, guys. Every day I get up, my mind tells me to go and jump off a building. It tells me to go and overdose on pills. It tells me to go and hang myself. I am fighting for my life. Where do these thoughts come from? I don't know. I have no idea. They're my own thoughts, but do I want to be having them? No. Do I want to die? I mean, it would be easier you know, than having to deal with the ups and downs of life. But boy, I don't know, but all I know is right now I'm fighting for my life.
Fellow contestants from the 2023 Miss Universe Jamaica pageant have since shared tributes online. Current title holder Jordan Lauren Levy described her heart as heavy, urging Jamaicans to remember they are not alone and that reaching out for help should be seen as strength. Now, if you are struggling today or need to talk to someone about your or someone else's mental health, you may contact the Jamaica Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Helpline at 888-639-5433. The helpline is a service provided by the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner, and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, turn on your notifications, and subscribe today. I'm Jovan Johnson. And before we go, Jamaica's sprint queen, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, has officially hung up her spikes, retiring from track and field at the end of the World Athletics Championships in Japan on September 21. She closed her glittering career with a silver medal, bringing back memories of the silver she won in Tokyo back in 2007, her first World Championships. Over nearly 2 decades, the 38-year-old amassed an extraordinary haul of 8 Olympic medals, including 3 gold medals, and 17 World Championship medals, including 10 world titles. Here's a look back at Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce's journey in pictures.